Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to cover top 50 MCQs on the security in the contemporary world in political science. For more, you can visit my website lawstudypoint.com. So let's start the video. At its most basic level, security implies freedom from threats. The traditional conception of security focuses primarily on threats from military conflict, internal or external. In the traditional view of security, what is the greatest danger to a country? Military threats from another country. Which of the following is not a component of traditional security policy? Human rights. The policy of preventing war by threatening to inflict unacceptable damage on the enemy is called deterrence. The concept of balance of power implies maintaining equilibrium between major powers to prevent domination. Building a coalition of states to deter or defend against a common military threat is known as alliance building. Which treaty was signed in 1972 between the US and USSR to limit missile defenses? ABM Treaty, Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. The traditional security concern that involves stopping war after it has begun is called defense. Internal security was a major concern for newly independent third world countries because they faced separatist movement and civil wars. Non-traditional notions of security go beyond military threats to include dangers to human existence like famine, disease, and disasters. Human security focuses on the protection of the individual or people. The idea that security should protect people from hunger, disease, and natural disasters is a part of broad concept of human security. Global security emerged as a concept in the 1990s because threats like global warming and AIDS are international in nature. Which of the following is considered a new source of threat? Terrorism. Political violence that targets civilians deliberately and indiscriminately is called terrorism. The hijacking of planes on 11 September 2001 is an example of global terrorism. Human rights are generally classified into three types. The first type is political and civil rights. Which of the following is a health epidemic that became a major security threat? HIV/AIDS, Ebola, COVID-19. The forced movement of people across borders due to war or persecution creates refugees. People who have fled their homes but remain within their own country's borders are called internally displaced persons. Global poverty is a source of insecurity because it leads to migration and conflict. In 1994, genocide involving the Hutu and Tutsi tribes took place in Rwanda. Which protocol was signed in 1997 to reduce greenhouse gas emission? Kyoto Protocol. Mad cow disease and bird flu are examples of new infectious diseases threatening security. Cooperative security implies that international cooperation is vital to solve non-traditional threats. Arms control refers to regulating the acquisition or development of weapons. What does NPT stands for? Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The Biological Weapons Convention was signed in 1972. The Chemical Weapons Convention was signed in 1992. START Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty was signed between USA and USSR. Confidence building measures are designed to reduce the risk of war by sharing military information. Disarmament requires states to give up certain kinds of weapons. The Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty was signed in 1972. Which of the following is an example of cooperative security strategy? Immunization, vaccination drives. Which of the following is not one of the components of India's security strategy? Aggressive expansion of territory. India conducted its first nuclear test in 1974. India's nuclear tests in 1998 justified the need to safeguard national security against neighbors with nuclear weapons. India supports the UN and international law. This is part of which security strategy? Strengthening international norms and institutions. To tackle internal security threats, India has focused on preserving national unity and democracy. Developing the economy to lift people out of poverty is a security strategy because poverty creates social unrest and vulnerability. India's refusal to sign the NPT is based on the argument that the treaty is discriminatory. Which Prime Minister championed Asian unity and decolonization as a security strategy? Jawaharlal Nehru. The Kyoto Protocol was signed by India in 2002. India's no first use policy relates to nuclear weapons. The concept of freedom from fear is associated with traditional security. The concept of freedom from want is associated with human security. Which continent has been most affected by the HIV/AIDS epidemic? Africa. The text suggests that for a state to be secure, it must also be just and inclusive. Migration creates security challenges because it puts pressure on resources and can cause social friction. That's all for today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.